Chapter 27. No One POV. Past Scene 6. Asivio's eyes widened as he saw the orb directed to him. He knew it was the end of it. His mind was void. Out of reflex, I closed my eyes and prepared for the impact. But it never came. I opened my eyes, and I was blinded by bright light around me. My eyes widened as I understood that it was a protection orb. The devil's magic bounced off the barrier and hit the tree on the side, making him curse. Suddenly, the protection shield morphs into a man. He was in black harem pants with gold-white waistband. He had no shirt, but only a shawl wrapped from his right shoulders to his left hand, along with black jewelry with gold pendants. He had brownish gold skin, and his eyes was mysterious as it kept changing colors. Well, hello there, brother, the devil said, as Asivio felt his breath label. Brother? He looked at the man in front of him, and he strangely had a strong aura filled with power and mystery. He is indeed Lord Vamir, their creator. The man took a glance at Asivio, who was still in shock. You have no right to come to my land and attack my people, Lord Vamir said, his voice much more powerful than the devil. Oh no, brother. I only came here and attacked him because he was trying to take away what is mine. Devil smirked. Your she-demon was the one who first entered my land, Lord said, pointing to Diane, who was still lying on the ground unconscious. And for that, she will be punished. But yours was not allowing me to take her back, and also, let's not forget the fact that he attacked me. It was pure self-defense. You do remember our agreement. Once you get involved with my world in any manner, the peace contract will break, and I will attack your world, he said as I glared at him. You can take her with you. No one will interfere anymore, Lord Vamir said as the devil smirked in victory. What? No, he can't take her, Asivio said as he stood up and looked between the lords in horror. You can't take her away, he said, taking a step forward, but suddenly he fell on the knees as if some unknown weight was applied on his shoulder. Prince Asivio, it is his wish to do what he can with his people. We have no right to involve, unless it affecting us, Lord Vamir said as the young prince tried to struggle. No, it has everything to do with me. I love her, Asivio said, but the Lord turned around, avoiding him. Please, Asivio started to shout as the devil smirked. He took the unconscious princess in his arms and looked at the prince in victory. You can't let him take her. He will hurt her, make her suffer. You can't let him do that, Asivio shouted, but none was taking it. It was a pleasure meeting you, Prince Asivio, the devil said, before he disappeared with the princess. The weight on the prince's shoulders suddenly vanished, and he fell on the ground, tears flowing down. Prince Asivio, you must understand. We can do nothing about the girl. She is the devil's bride, the Lord said as the latter's eyes widened. He ground his teeth as his hands formed into a fist. He hated how helpless he felt. He couldn't save her, and now she is in danger. Prince Asivio, Lord Vamir once again called as he put his hand on the youngest shoulder. But the prince immediately slapped it off and stood up. You are the Lord. You should be kind and help the ones in need. You know what will happen to her. You know that she will be in danger. Yet you allow him to take her away. He shouted at his superior. I do not wish to sacrifice the lives of millions of my people for your reckless love, Prince. I do not wish for the war which we set to start again. I do not wish to break the agreement, which is the only reason for peace between the devil and us, the Lord said with a neutral expression. Asivio fell on his knees as he felt even more helpless. I'm sorry for what has happened to you. I know you love her dearly, but you can't do anything. I will not allow you to start a war. For the same, I'm forbidding you to get out of the terrain. You can no longer step out of this dimension, and if you ever try to do so, every force of nature will prevent you. The Lord said, as Xavier felt some kind of heat passing through his body. His body started to burn as a mark appeared on his hand. It was a hollow circle, entangled with a triangle. It was bound by a chain, which burned bright red. No, please, I need to save her, please, he shouted, but the Lord looked down at him void. I'm sorry, Prince, but I forbid you to go forth and destroy the other worlds, the Lord said before he disappeared completely. No, Xavier said as he looked at the mark on his hand, sat on the ground and leaned his back on the border. He covered his eyes with the back of his hand and cried helplessly. He didn't know how long he was here, but the daylight turned to the night sky and the prince still has no intention to go back home. Prince Xavier. A familiar voice came from the entrance, but Xavier didn't move. Oh, my lord, Xavier, Wilfred said as he ran to the prince and knelt beside him. Are you all right? You were hurt badly. Shit. Let me take you to the hospital, Wilfred said as he tried to make the prince stand. I lost her. Will, I lost the only person I felt happy with. The only person that gave me a purpose to do my best. I don't know what to do. Help me. Help me get her back. The prince shouted helplessly, grabbing onto his childhood friend's collar. Come on, Izzy. Let's get you some help first, Wilfred said as he back-carried the exhausted prince back to the palace. Chapter 28. Now One POV. Past Scene 7. Wilfred looked at the sleeping prince and sighed. He took the string and injected it on the prince's body as per the direction of the doctor. Bring the prince's visor and right hand. Wilfred was trained in all fields. His duty is to protect the prince, but he is failing miserably. The prince has been asleep for 3 days, and without him waking up, he can know nothing of what happened. He looked so broken-hearted and hurt when Wilfred found him. It hurt him deeply when he found his childhood friend in such a condition. Is he okay? A familiar voice filled in Wilfred's ear. He smiled, and he stood up and kissed the cheek of his lover's face. He is still taking rest, not waking up. Should you be here, Serene? He asked. She smiled and nodded. Of course, he's my friend too, she said. Her husband guided her to the chair. Wilfred, Serene, and Xavier have always been childhood friends. He had always had a crush on Serene, but without Xavier's encouragement, he would never have taken a step forward. Hey, baby, kiss from your daddy, he said, as he bends down and kissed the 3-month-old stomach of his love. Do you think he will wake up soon? She asked, as Wilfred sighed. I don't know. He was so weak and desperate when I saw him. It broke my heart to see him like this, Wilfred said, as the other nodded. Do you think something happened with Diane? She asked, as he looked at her with sadness. I'm afraid so. I don't know what. But he kept on repeating how everyone is against them, he said, as she sighed and looked at the prince. He is going through a lot. You need to help him. Give him strength, she said, as he nodded and looked at the prince with sadness. The door to the room opened, and I stood up as the king and queen walked in. Good day, your majesties, he said, standing up and bowing. How is he? The king asked, his voice void like always. He's good. The doctor said a good rest is all he needs, Wilfred said, as the other two nods. You are his vizier and protector. You should be with him around the clock, You are to restrict him from running off to such absurd and dangerous places. The king scolded Wilfred as he nodded and looked down in guilt. Don't scold him. I went out without his knowledge. A voice came from behind, shocking the future vizier. Prince Azivir, Wilfred said as he ran to help him sit up. You're awake, the king said as the prince nodded. Why were you out? He asked, straight to point like always. I have my reasons, the son said as the kind huffs. Stubborn as always. Well, I hope you learned your mistakes. You are the future king, might as well start acting like one. He said before walking out with the queen, following him quietly like always. The prince let out a sound before looking out the window. The king never cares for him as a son. He only wants an heir to the throne. The queen, on the other hand, is like a dummy, following the king and his order. I have never got love from them. They always see me as an object for the future throne. When I finally got someone who I felt left towards, everyone in the whole damn planet wants to separate us. Azivir said, grinding his teeth. Tears filled his eyes and his hands formed into a fist. Life is just too unfair to him. Azivir, Wilfred called as he put a hand on his shoulder. I want her back, Wilfred. I want to save her from him. I want to protect her. But even the Lord has put a binding on me, he said, as leaned on his best friend. Would you tell us what happened? Serene asked as the prince looked at her. Hey, Serene, I didn't even greet you, he said as she looked at him with sadness. He had red sock eyes and dark circles. His skin looked paler and he looked sick to the core. How's the baby? He asked. She gave a small smile. He's fine, she said as he nodded and sighed before leaning onto the bed. Are you going to tell us what happened? Wilfred asked as the prince looked to and forth from his two best friends. Will you promise to help and stay beside me, no matter what I tell? He asked, as the two looked at him in shock. When have we ever not stayed by your side? Serene said, as she went and sat beside him. You will, if you hear what happened, he said. She looked at her husband sadly. We will never, we promise, Wilfred said. He went and sat on the other side. The prince's eyes filled with tears. He looked at his two best friends. Thank you, he said, as he took both their hands, smiling. This means the world to me.